The Apollo 10, successfully orbiting the moon, has just come around to the near side of the moon, the side we can see from Earth, on its third revolution. The ground stations have just acquired a transmission signal from the spacecraft again. We expect to be again hearing from the astronauts themselves very shortly. And then sometime in the next 15 minutes, they're going to turn on the cameras, and for the first time with those color cameras they have carried to the moon's environment. For the first time, we will see the moon's surface from their 69-mile-high altitude, and hear the astronauts' own description of what they're seeing up there. So far, in their 2 revolutions of the moon, since they went into the moon orbit at 4:45 this afternoon, they have been ecstatic about what they have seen. You have to see this planet to believe it, is one of their phrases. Fantastic, brownish gray. We've seen some good volcanoes, and Tom Stafford said at one point, at the risk of sounding corny, the view is out of this world. The colors, they say, are more alive on the back side of the moon than on the foreside, shades of black, white, and some brown. They have called it a really rugged planet, and Tom Stafford has said that it's going to be a real trick to go down among those mountains tomorrow when they take the lunar module down within 10 miles of the moon's surface. They've also said that it's a beautiful view at night, that the craters glow as if radioactive, and they glow in a rather dim light. They've seen the solar corona, and they call it beautiful as well. But while we're waiting for this communication from the spacecraft, we might take a look at the moon track over which they'll be passing. We'll do that in just a moment. CBS News color coverage of the flight of Apollo 10 will continue in a moment.
The laser beam, darling of science fiction. Exotic laboratory toy, until 1965, when engineers at Bell Labs and Western Electric became the first to put the laser on the job in industry. The job? Piercing holes in industrial diamonds to make thin telephone wire. Today, Western Electric uses the laser to cut material for thin film electronic circuits. We also use the laser to measure and to weld tiny parts for equipment we make for the Bell telephone network. Someday, the laser beam may transmit telephone calls and other data. Someday, you may find yourself talking over one. Western Electric. We make Bell telephones. We also helped change the laser beam from a toy to a tool.
That picture from the moon we expect very shortly now. In just the moment that they punch it up from Apollo 10, we will have it on here, of course, and if we get some interesting transmissions by voice from the astronauts before then, we'll go to it as well. Let us take a quick look at that ground track on the moon, or lunar track it should be called perhaps. They came around the moon at just about this point there when they first were able to see the Earth. As they moved along up there for a way, they over to the right could see the small crater of Jansky, and then the crater of Neper, and on up a little bit further over to the left, the crater of Langrenus, and to the right, one of the seas of the moon, Mare Crisium. A little bit further along, and they moved into the Mare Tranquillitatis area, the sea in which the landing sites are. You see the rills across the moon about which they have referred already. And here is landing site number 2, where they expect to come. The first pictures from the moon from Apollo 10. Let's listen in for the transmission. We're not getting any voice transmission from them. We'd expect that shortly. These are live pictures from the moon, 240,000 miles
we've seen the crater you're talking about there. That's an awfully good TV picture. Okay, we ought to be coming up on the left side of your picture on Neper here. Tom can scan over to get it.
No voice is being fed to us from Mission Control in Houston.
The spacecraft now over Smythe's. We should be coming right over the Smythe Sea right at the present time. Roger, that's affirmative, and that was F1 you were showing us there just a minute ago, Jim. Roger, okay, I've got this at full zoom. You like it at full zoom, or do you want it back down a little bit? Joe, monitor, it looks like we've got some pretty good resolution here. You got fantastic resolution, Tom. You might back off the zoom just a little bit to give us a little bigger picture, get a little better orient. That's good right there, Tom. Apollo 10, this Houston. We'd like for you to cycle at ALC just so we can get a comparison of the picture. Stay there for about 5 seconds and then go on back to your present position. Okay, we're on inside right now, and we'll give you a mark when we go to outside. Roger. Okay. Mark it, we're on outside now. Got it, man.
It seems that they're remaining almost stationary over a single spot there.
Joe, can you see we just passed over a rill down there? The rill should be in the upper left-hand corner of your screen.
They're moving at 3,700 miles an hour.
Tom, and the outside position on an ALC seems to give us better resolution down here than the inside. How's that compare with your monitor? Same way, Joe. The outside gives us lots better. And at this time, we're passing over a big crater now. You can see it with the rim there. Roger, got it. And it's got a couple small ones on the inside. Okay, the little small beacon there is a pure white. The rest of the crater is a brownish gray with several little spirals of white. How does it show up down there, babe? It shows up exactly the same, Tom. That's perfect. Okay, I've got a real bright red crater. I'm going to zoom in on it. The top of it is pure white, and there you can even see it looks like maybe see some boulders around on it. I'm going to zoom on it. Okay, we think that may be Schubert, Tom. That's great. That detail is just great, Tom. We estimate this crater is about 40 miles in diameter. Again, for your edification, we are upside down going forward to keep the sun off the windows and also kind of conserve fuel. But the rate you see there on the monitor, at least what I can see, is exactly our orbital rate here. John is maintaining a 315 orb rate upside down. Okay, we copy that. Thank you. And Tom, could you see all the little... Okay, Gino, we'd just like to confirm that you are on infinity on your focus. you can see in this area, the whole area is marked by these small new craters. They're pure white when they stand out. Then they fade into a grayish, light gray brown, into a darker brownish gray as you get to the older areas.
Roger, that's just the way it looks.
Get into Samaria area. Now, the only thing you get to the Samaria area here is you can notice in the bottom of this one depression here is more brownish, more of a deep brown now.
Roger, it's looking here exactly as you're describing it, Tom. That's tremendous.